There's a Stoic truth most people ignore. The loudest man in the room is rarely the strongest, and the angriest fighter is usually the weakest. The person you should fear, and the person you should become, is the one who keeps his emotions on a leash. Imagine being insulted in public, attacked at work, or betrayed by someone you trusted. Most people would explode, throw words like daggers, or even fight. But the one who stays calm, that's the person no one can defeat. If you want to live with this kind of unshakable power, then stick with me to the end. And before we go deeper into Stoic wisdom, make sure to like this video and subscribe, because we're building a community of thinkers who turn chaos into clarity. Number 1, the illusion of power and anger. People often think anger is power. We live in a world where yelling, showing off, and intimidating others is mistaken for strength. But anger is like fire. It burns out quickly and usually burns the person holding it first. The Stoics knew that the man who loses control of himself has already lost, even if he wins the argument or fight. Think about the times you got angry. Did it really solve the problem? Or did it just leave you embarrassed, drained, or apologizing later? The person who erupts all the time isn't strong. He's predictable. And predictability is weakness, because others can easily control you. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." In other words, real strength doesn't come from reacting, but from choosing not to react. It comes from staying calm while everyone else is losing themselves. So the one who controls himself, the one who doesn't need to prove his power through noise, is far more dangerous. Because nobody knows what his next move will be, and that unpredictability commands respect. Number 2, self-control as the highest form of discipline. The dangerous man isn't the one who can punch the hardest. It's the one who can feel rage boiling inside and still breathe, think, and choose wisely. Self-control is discipline in its purest form. It's the ability to tell your emotions, "You don't own me. I own you." Let's be honest, it's not easy. When someone cuts you off in traffic, your blood pressure spikes, your fists clench, and in your head, you've already won 5 imaginary arguments. But the man who controls himself laughs, shakes his head, and drives on. Humor is a form of control, too. It turns a potential explosion into a smile. That's power. Discipline is what allows athletes to push through pain, soldiers to stay calm in battle, and leaders to guide people in chaos. Without self-control, talent collapses under pressure. With it, even an ordinary person becomes extraordinary. The Stoics practiced this daily. They didn't wait for big battles to test their control. They trained on the small things, delayed pleasures, calm responses, simple living. Because if you can't control yourself in the small moments, you won't control yourself when life really tests you. Number 3, why people fear the calm person. Why do people fear the one who stays calm? Because calmness is unpredictable, and unpredictability makes people uneasy. If you shout at me and I shout back, you know what's coming. But if you shout and I just smile, you have no idea what I'm planning. That's unsettling. A calm man makes others question themselves. His silence speaks louder than noise, because people can't tell if he's weak, patient, or simply waiting strike. This is why armies respect disciplined generals more than hot-headed ones. They know a calm leader is harder to defeat. Think about someone in your life who never seems rattled, no matter what's thrown at them. Doesn't that make you respect them more? Doesn't it make you wonder how they do it? That's the aura of self-control. It creates both mystery and authority. The dangerous person doesn't have to fight often, because people are already cautious around him. His composure is a shield and a sword at the same time. And unlike brute force, it doesn't wear out. It grows stronger with practice. Number 4, turning pain into power. Life will hurt you. People will lie, betray, and disappoint you. The weak man collapses under this pain, turning bitter or explosive. But the dangerous man? He uses pain as fuel. He takes anger, heartbreak, and frustration, and instead of reacting wildly, he channels it into strength, growth, and wisdom. This is what the Stoics called turning obstacles into opportunities. Seneca said, "Fire tests gold, Misfortune tests brave men. Every insult, every betrayal, every failure is a chance to prove your control. If you can't control life, you must at least control yourself. Here's the twist. People expect you to lose it. They expect shouting, revenge, or despair. When you don't give them that satisfaction, you rob them of their power over you. It's like denying an enemy the victory dance. They don't know what to do next. So next time pain finds you, don't just endure it. Transform it. Use it to sharpen your patience, deepen your focus, and strengthen your control. That's how you turn pain into something dangerous. Not for you, but for anyone who tries to break you. Number 5, becoming the most dangerous person. So how do you become this dangerous person? You don't need to build muscles, stockpile weapons, or master martial arts, though those can help. What you need first is to master yourself. Practice holding your tongue when anger tempts you. Practice staying still when your body wants to lash out. Practice choosing reason over impulse. Everyday life gives you training grounds. Someone cuts you off in traffic? Training. Someone insults you online? Training. Your boss criticizes you unfairly? Training. Each moment is an arena where you either lose yourself or prove your control. This doesn't mean you should be passive. The calm person isn't weak. He still takes action, but his action is deliberate, precise, and unstoppable because it's not ruled by emotion. That's why people fear him. He chooses his battles, and when he does strike, it's devastating because it's calculated. Number 6, control is the foundation of freedom. Most people think freedom means doing whatever you want, whenever you want. But that's not freedom, it's slavery to your impulses. If you can't say no to anger, to lust, to greed, or to fear, then those emotions are your masters. The dangerous man is free precisely because he controls himself. Think of it this way. When you can't control your hunger, the food controls you. When you can't control your desires control you. And when you can't control your anger, anyone with the right words can make you their puppet. That's not strength, that's weakness in disguise. The Stoics believed real freedom comes from self-mastery. Epictetus, who was born a slave, said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." He wasn't speaking in riddles. He was pointing out that chains aren't always physical. They're emotional and mental, too. The person who controls himself has the keys to his own prison. He can walk away when others are chained to their impulses. That makes him untouchable. And what's more dangerous than someone you can't manipulate or control? Number 7, patience as a weapon. We don't usually think of patience as a weapon. In fact, patience feels boring, like waiting for slow internet to load a YouTube video. But in Stoicism, patience is one of the deadliest tools you can carry. Because while others rush into mistakes, the calm person waits and strikes at the perfect moment. Patience doesn't mean weakness. It means wisdom. It means you see the long game instead of getting stuck into short-term drama. The angry person spends all their energy in the first round. The patient person conserves energy, studies the field, and wins when it matters most. In history, some of the greatest leaders were patient. They didn't react to every insult, every provocation. They waited, they planned, and then they moved with precision. That's why their enemies never saw them coming. They mistook silence for surrender. So when you train yourself in patience, you become dangerous. Because you're no longer rushed, no longer baited, no longer tricked into battles that don't matter. You hold your energy until it's worth using. And when you finally move, no one can stop you. Number 8, silence as strength. Noise is everywhere today. Social media rewards shouting, debates reward interruptions, and even in personal arguments, people think the loudest voice wins. But silence, controlled silence, is stronger than any noise. It unsettles people more than words ever can. When you stay silent, you keep your power. You don't hand over your emotions to your opponent. You don't let them read your thoughts or predict your next move. Silence makes people uncomfortable because they want a reaction. When you give them nothing, they start to doubt themselves. The Stoics practiced silence not because they had nothing to say, but because they knew words should serve truth, not ego. They saved their voices for wisdom, not for petty disputes. Silence wasn't emptiness, it was strength waiting. And if you've ever tried arguing with someone who doesn't react, you know how frustrating it is. It's almost comical. You run out of steam while the other person stands calm. That's why the one who controls his tongue can be more dangerous than the one who swings his fists. Number 9. Emotional control in relationships. Relationships test us more than wars sometimes. A careless word from someone you love can cut deeper than any sword. Many people ruin friendships, marriages, or family ties simply because they can't control their emotions in heated moments. But the one who controls himself becomes unshakable in love and in life. When you don't lash out at every misunderstanding, you build trust. When you don't respond to betrayal with vengeance, you build respect. And when you don't let jealousy, pride, or insecurity rule you, you build something even rarer: peace. This doesn't mean you ignore problems or stay silent when you should speak. It means you respond, not react. You choose your words carefully, your actions wisely, and your emotions deliberately. That level of control makes relationships stronger, not weaker. And let's be real, sometimes the best "I told you so" in relationships is just staying calm while the other person burns themselves out. It's almost funny how silence and composure can solve what shouting never could. That's not just wisdom, it's strategy. Number 10. Building an aura of invincibility. Every person gives off an aura, whether they know it or not. Some radiate insecurity, others anger, others desperation. But the one who controls himself radiates something different: invincibility. It's not that he can't be hurt, it's that he can't be controlled. When people realize they can't rattle you, they treat you differently. They hesitate before provoking you. They think twice before trying to manipulate you. And eventually, they stop wasting their energy because they see it doesn't work. That aura is like armor. It protects you without you even lifting a hand. The Stoics didn't care about appearing tough. They cared about being unshakable. And when you're unshakable, people sense it. It changes how they speak to you, how they act around you, and even how they respect you. You don't need to announce your strength, they feel it. That's why the one who controls himself is truly the most dangerous. Not because he dominates others, but because he dominates himself. His calmness, his silence, his patience, his freedom, these create a presence that no one can easily overcome. And that presence is unforgettable. So remember this: the most dangerous person is not the one who can destroy others, but the one who cannot be destroyed from within. Be that person. Control yourself, and you will control the world around you.